for your work in brain health. We really do appreciate that as well. So now we will move on to the question and answer portion of the hearing, and I will recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions, and I will start with Mr. Fitzgibbon. So, Mr. Fitzgibbon, as you know, the Biden administration significantly weakened underwriting standards in the SBA's 7A loan program. Since those changes were implemented, the 12-month default rate has more than doubled, and the early default rate has almost tripled. How important are strong underwriting standards to the long-term stability of the 7A loan program?
Thank you, Senator. I think prudent underwriting provides the foundation for long-term stability. There are other factors like guarantee fees and so on, but they're not as important as underwriting. It's truly the cornerstone of managing debt.
No, that's good. And Ms. Sims, to you, thank you for being here today. The previous administration allowed additional non-banks, including fintech firms, to participate in the 7A loan program. So as a community banker, how do your underwriting processes differ from those that are non-bank lenders, such as fintech firms, and how do these differences affect the loan performance in the 7A loan program? Can you hit your button? Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to push the red. Community bankers, we live and we dine and we use the services that business owners have. So we see people, when we provide loans, we're not just providing loans to paper, we're providing loans to people. So we try to find financial solutions and complement our banking needs through our SBA programs, depending on how much assets they have, how much capital they need. And so having that availability through the SBA program is imperative for us. The credit underwriting is the same for SBA lending. We still have to make sure that the loan can be repaid back. But a lot of times our entrepreneurs need education. They need to know how much debt they need to have. They need to have a budget. I like to say the saying, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times these business owners need guidance from us as a community banker to be able to either say, hey, you need to start with us, or they may need to start with a community advantage lender just to get started. So just being there to educate the client makes us very different than fintech, which is where my concern is. Fintech is more about a predatory approach and trying to just give money as fast as they can, and they don't really see them as human. They just see them as another source of financing and getting rates. So that's where my concern is the most, is the fact that they're taking the human approach away from community banking when you allow fintech to take over.
Yeah, I do appreciate that support. Thank you. And Mr. Fitzgibbon, the SBA has had 4 straight quarters of negative cash flow. Over roughly that same period, upfront borrower fee revenue has decreased by 13%, while loan purchases, which occur when SBA has to buy a defaulted loan from a lender, have increased by 73%. How concerning are these trends, and what steps need to be taken to ensure that the 7A program continues to operate at zero subsidy from the taxpayer?
Well, thank you, Senator. I think 4 quarters of data is, you can't draw every conclusion from 4 quarters of data, but it's all we have. And it is alarming for in comparison to the other vintages. So I think looking at borrower fees is probably, and lender fees, and reintroducing them is probably necessary. I would say that the cost of inaction is high, because regardless of the cost of the taxpayer, every loan that shouldn't have been made that defaults ruins the financial life of that small business owner. And so you could take a wait-and-see approach for the year and see if things normalize, but I think there's a human cost to that to me seems unadvisable.
Okay, thank you. And now I would like to ask a question to all the lenders on the panel. Over the last 5 years, we have seen a dramatic expansion in the use of lender service providers, or LSPs, by SBA lenders. These LSPs assist SBA lenders by referring, processing, and servicing loans, and are often increasing the volume of SBA lending. Does your company utilize an LSP, and could you just talk about the proper role of an LSP in assisting SBA lenders? And Mr. Lanzo, while I'll start with you first, and then we'll go to the other lenders.
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fitzgibbon.
We don't use them. I think they play a helpful role if the lender that they're partnering with has good guardrails. But I think in combined with a fintech lender that it's all about churning volume, I think that they can be a part of the problem.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sims?
Starting an SBA department in a community bank is daunting. It's a difficult task. And so it can be very alluring to look at an LSP. I looked at it at one time when I was starting the department, but it's really difficult to keep consistency of your culture, of who you are as a bank when you outsource it to somebody else. Keeping that consistency and also keeping the culture of your bank is out of your control. And a lot of times, the customer experiences very bad customer service because they're not only dealing with us, they're also dealing with the LSP. If it's sold in the secondary market, they're not able to renegotiate their interest rate. So there also put some guardrails on that. So LSBs do have a sense of purpose, don't misunderstand me, but they can also abuse that situation. So we do have to enter that cautiously when using LSPs.
Okay, thank
And
you.
we do
That's
not-
very helpful.
We do not use LSPs, by the way.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will turn it now to Ranking Member Markey for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.